Grisly details coming out after a court filing yesterday. A doctor claims Billy Ray Irick felt like he was choking, drowning, and being burned alive when he was executed last month. It's the latest legal effort to stop lethal injection in Tennessee. In new court filings yesterday, Dr. David Lebarski said statements from people who witnessed Irick's death say the controversial drug they used failed to ensure Irick did not feel pain. Irick and 32 other death row inmates sued the state this year, saying its lethal injection protocol would violate the U.S. Constitution. Tennessee's next execution is set for October 11th.